this question. This is IIT GATE 2024 question number 31. So it says, in the context of Harris-Todaro model of rural-urban migration, which one of the following is true? So the first option says, unemployment in the urban sector emerges because rural-urban migration occurs primarily due to higher expected wage income in the urban sector. Option B, unemployment in the urban sector emerges because rural workers migrate to the cities and towns due to the expected shortage of unskilled labor in the urban sector. Option C, unemployment in the urban sector emerges because of the rural wage rate is institutionally fixed by the local body at a higher level than the urban wage rate. Or option D, unemployment in the rural sector emerges because urban workers migrate to rural sector due to higher expected wage income in the advanced economy. So what will be the right answer? Here the right answer is option A. Unemployment in the urban sector emerges because rural-urban migration occurs due to higher expected wage income in the urban sector. So basically from the rural areas, workers migrate to the urban areas. Why? Because they think that the expected wage income is high in the urban areas, right? And while doing so, what they do, they basically take into account the probability of finding the job in the urban sector, right? So in Harris-Todaro model, what we know, rural workers will take into account the probability of finding the job in the urban sector, and they will also take into account their actual wage income in the rural informal sector, that where they actually are working, right? So depending on that, they will migrate. But what happens is that sometimes this migration leads to unemployment. So in Harris-Todaro model, unemployment situation arises when the number of workers who are migrated to the urban sector exceeds the number of jobs available in the urban formal sector, right? So when the number of migrant workers from the rural sector to the urban sector exceeds the number of jobs available, the total number of jobs available in the urban formal sector, then this unemployment will take place. So option A is your right answer, that unemployment emerges because the rural-urban migration occurs due to the higher expected wage income in the urban sector. And A is your answer for this question. Okay, let's do this question. This is IIT GATE 2024, question number 32. So it basically says the minimum support price in India, MSP. The minimum support price in India notified based on the recommendations of which of the following commissions? Commission for Agricultural Costs and Prices, Commission for Farmers Benefits and Costs, Commission for Agricultural Subsidy Costs and Prices, and Commission for Agricultural Subsidy Benefits and Cost. So the right answer will be Commission for Agricultural Cost and Prices, CACP basically. So CACP basically takes into account some relevant factors like cost of production, demand supply conditions, and other relevant factors to determine the minimum support prices. So your answer is option A for this question. Let's do this question. This question is from IIT GATE 2024, question number 33. So it says, in an economy, the dependency ratio is the ratio of. Option A says non-working age group population to the working age group population. Option B, number of children to adults in the total population. Option C, number of unemployed to employed workers in the total labor force. Or option D, total foreign aids and grants to the total net factor income to from abroad. So what will be the right answer here? Right answer is option A. Dependency ratio is the ratio of non-working age population. So basically the children and the elderly people. Right? Non-working age population means who are either children or they are elderly people who are not working. The age group is not non-working age group basically to the working age group. So basically, who are in the labor force from 18 to say 65 years. So these are the working age population. So if you take the ratio of children and elderly people to the working age population, you will get the dependency ratio. So dependency ratio basically gives you insight about the economic burden. So dependency ratio basically gives you insight about the economic burden on the productive population. On the productive population. You can remember this in using this definition also. So basically dependency ratio is the economic burden on the productive population, and it is, calculated by this ratio non-working age population upon the working age population. So option A is your right answer here. Okay, so this question is from IIT GATE 2024, question number 34. It says, which one of the following is not a source of finance of the government of India? First option is land revenue, second option income tax, third option corporate tax, or the fourth option is import duty. So income tax, corporate tax, and import duties are major sources of revenues for the central government. Here, government of India means the central government, right? So these are major sources of revenue. Only land revenue is not a source of finance for government of India. Land revenue is a source for the state governments. It's the revenue source for state governments. And hence, it's not a direct source of finance for the central government or the government of India. So, here the right option will be option A, that is the land revenue. Hi everyone, let's do this question. This is IIT GATE 2024, question number 35. It says, in the Keynesian closed economy ISLM model, where interest rate is plotted along the vertical axis and output is plotted along the horizontal axis. So this is basically the XY plane. On the horizontal axis, you have output, and on the vertical axis, you have interest rate. Then the product market schedule will be basically the IS schedule. IS curve shows you the goods market equilibrium. So product market schedule will be the IS schedule. So here you have to identify what will happen to the slope of the IS curve. Relatively, option A says relatively steeper if the interest elasticity of investment is low. Relatively steeper, the higher the marginal propensity to save. Relatively steeper if the interest elasticity of investment is high, or relatively flatter when the interest elasticity of money demand is high. So for solving these questions, you have to know what are the factors that affect the IS curve slope and in which direction. So IS curve slope can be impacted in two ways. The first way is the interest elasticity of investment demand. Interest elasticity of investment demand. Here, the rule of thumb is when investment is highly sensitive, to changes in interest rate, what will happen? IS curve is flatter, right? When investment is highly sensitive, so interest elasticity of investment demand is very low. No, sorry, interest elasticity of investment demand is very high. So when investment is very sensitive, so what does this mean? It basically means that if you change the interest rate by a little amount, suppose R falls by a very little, percentage points, then the change in investment will be very significant. It will change heavily, right? If R falls by a very small amount, investment will increase rapidly, massively. And as a result of which, the output will also increase rapidly. Similarly, if R increases by a small amount, investment falls down and the output level also falls down, and this fall will be significant. Why this is so? Because investment is highly sensitive, right? So highly sensitive means elasticity is also high, right? Elasticity is very high. Okay. And the second factor that impacts the slope is the marginal propensity to save. So when marginal propensity to save is high, IS curve is steeper. IS curve is steeper. Why this is so? Because changes in income will not impact the consumption okay, let's not write not impact, will have lesser impact on consumption and aggregate demand, right? So these are the two things which basically affect the slope of the IS schedule. So now let's get back to the options and check. Relatively steeper, IS curve will be relatively steeper if the interest elasticity of investment is low. This is right. Why this is so? If interest elasticity of investment is low, elasticity low means what? Elasticity low means that even if you, suppose you decrease, elasticity low means is that even if you decrease the interest rate by certain percentage points, the change in the interest rate will not be much. And as a result of which, the output level also does not change much. So the curve will be relatively steeper. Even if the interest rate falls, the change in the output will be very low. So output level will increase, but that increase will be very low. As a result of which, to maintain the goods market equilibrium, IS curve have to be very steep. Similarly, if the interest rate rises, the fall will be not much, as a result of which the output fall will also be not much. Again, the same logic. In order to maintain the goods market equilibrium, the IS curve have to be steeper, relatively steeper. So relatively steeper if the interest elasticity of investment is low. This is right answer. Let's check the other options. Relatively steeper if the higher the marginal propensity to save. Okay. Then you have relatively steeper if the interest elasticity of investment is high. This is not right. Relatively flatter when the interest elasticity of money demand is very high. So this is also not right. Let's check option B, relatively steeper the higher the marginal propensity to save. This is also right? This is what the thumb rule is. If MPS is increasing, IS curve will be steeper. So option A and option B both should be the right answer. So according to me, answer A and B both should be the right answers. But GATE does not have any such section of multiple answers. So I think there is some problem in this question. So, but I hope you understood what is the logic behind this, and that will be enough. If any such question comes, I hope you can handle that, right? So here A and B both seems to be the right answers according to me.